All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started today. This is our last webinar of the year because next month we're just all going to be a little too crazy to do this. So thank you everyone who took the time to join us today. And again, if you're just coming on, if you can hit that mute button in the bottom left-hand corner to reduce background noise. We will have lots of time for questions at the end. All right, so we are in the final stretch. Now is the time to make any needed updates to your information in the dashboard. You should take some time to log in, go to registration to-dos, and then click through each item to confirm the information is correct. Items that are gray may have already been previously completed, but you still might want to just click in them to make any changes and just to make sure that information is correct, especially when you're looking at things like mailing addresses, veterans grave counts and stuff like that. For those of you who are also location coordinators, we strongly encourage you to log into your dashboard to check your veterans grave count, shipping address, and ceremony time. The last day to make changes to any grave counts or shipping addresses is November 15th. Any changes made after that might not be picked up by us and our team before we get ready to ship. Also, if you have any issues getting logged in, or if you're unsure of how to do these things, just make sure you reach out to your liaison and we can always walk you through that or make those changes for you. Your Wreathometers are a great way to show progress to your community. So you also want to make sure that you're logging into your dashboard and checking that wreath count goal to either increase it or activate it. And we'll talk a little bit more about how to do that in just a few slides down. Page alerts are a wonderful tool to help you share important information with your local community. Page alerts are useful for sponsorship groups to share upcoming fundraising events and for locations to share ceremony plans. Creating a page alert is really easy. You just log into your dashboard, then under the Manage tab at the top, select Page Alerts. This will pull open your page alert box, where you can fill out the title, text, and time with a description. Your title should be something short and eye-catching, like upcoming event, or something that quickly describes what they are looking at. The text section is where you can put the specific details, like when to be there, what the event's going to be, if it's for a ceremony, if you have specifics like mask required. This is somewhere where you can put it so that people can quickly see it and know what they need to go to the ceremony. We recommend also backdating this date by 1 day so that it appears on your page right away so that you can check to make sure it's working correctly. If it's just saying that it's not going to show on until tomorrow, you obviously aren't going to be able to see if it's working correctly unless you go back tomorrow to check. Next, you just click save and you are all set. Your page alert will show as a box that pops up when someone comes to your page to visit. So it's a great way to quickly catch their attention, because when they go to your page, it just instantly pops up. They have to close it out before they can do anything like sponsor wreaths, volunteer, or anything like that. So we mentioned earlier the Wreathometers were a great way to share progress with the community. So now I'm just going to walk through how to make changes to it. If your Wreathometer is grayed out, that means your wreath has not been set. Your wreath goal has not been set. So if it's looking like this and you have wreath sponsored, then that means you need to set your sponsorship goal so that it starts coloring in. As the wreaths are sponsored, it starts to turn green and red for the bow until it's completely covered. If your Wreathometer shows fully covered, that means your goal has been met. So if you're still actively fundraising, it's a good idea to increase your goal so as not to turn away any sponsorships. Oftentimes, if someone goes to a page and they see you've already met your goal for the year, they might say, oh, well, let me just go find someone else that, still needs help. To set your wreath goal, you will log into your account dashboard and then go to registration to-dos. For your groups, you will go to set your wreath sponsorship goal. And for locations, you will need to go to grave counts, delivery instructions, and sponsorship goals to make your changes. And that's going to look like this for sponsorship groups. And then this section right here is what it looks like for locations. All you have to do next is click save after you've entered that goal. For location coordinators, just remember that the number of wreaths shipped is based on your veterans grave count or special arrangements, not on the wreath goal. We will send all sponsored wreaths up to the max of the wreath veterans grave count or special arrangements. Any extras would be held over and sent to next year or given to another location, depending on what you chose. So if you're looking to increase the number of wreaths that you are going to be receiving this year, increasing your sponsorship goal is not going to do that. And if you have questions, if you're unsure if you did it right, make sure you reach out to your liaison, because that's certainly something we don't want to mix up. Understanding your wreath count report. So your wreath count report is the quickest and easiest way to track orders to know if you need to send a cutoff form. You can find that by logging into your dashboard, clicking on the manage section, and then click reporting, and then go to your wreath count report. If you're wondering if an envelope of orders has been received at headquarters, you can find that by clicking the tab at the bottom of the report that says mailed in wreaths being processed. When those orders are finalized, they will be moved to the tab that says details with a full breakdown of information about the order. If you're wondering if you should submit a cutoff form, check your wreath count report. If you don't see checks mailed in that you mailed in by November 30th, then the safest thing is to just go ahead and submit a cutoff form for that. Sorry, went a little parched there. So what is the cutoff form? A lot of you have heard us mention the cutoff form and probably aren't sure what to expect. So I just want to walk you through that process. The cutoff forms are to report checks that you would like included in your 2021 wreath count, but that have not yet been received at headquarters. We will do our best to get all the orders that come in after the cutoff date on the truck in time for delivery this year. However, any that don't make it for delivery this year would be added to your account for next year. So continuing your fundraising after the cutoff date is a great way to get a head start for next year while it's fresh on everyone's mind. So while we say, we talk about the cutoff, we certainly don't mean that that's when you have to stop all fundraising. And in fact, we strongly encourage you to continue doing that year round. So for the cutoff form, on Friday, November 26th, you will receive an email from your regional liaison with an online cutoff form. You will need to submit the cutoff form by 11:59 on November 30th. While multiple cutoff forms are allowed, we ask that you try to limit it as much as possible to reduce the confusion. The cutoff form allows you to continue to collect funds through the 30th and then send one cutoff form by the end of the day. Once you submit the cutoff form, the count will be added to your group or location to help us process these in a timely manner. Make sure you're always checking when you're filling out this form that you're including your correct location and group IDs. And that you're carefully following the instructions on how to do it. You'll also want to make sure that you print off a copy of that form and send it in with the checks. This is, of course, unless you're submitting the form for checks that are in transit but haven't been received yet. And again, as always, if you have questions when you receive the cutoff form, or if you're not sure if you should submit a cutoff form, always reach out to your liaison and we can walk you through the best way to do this, because we want to make sure that you guys are getting credit, for all your hard work, and we're getting as many wreaths placed, honoring as many veterans as we can this year. For those of you who are location coordinators, I know you probably have questions about what to expect regarding delivery of your wreaths. We know everyone is eager to get details on the delivery, but please be patient as we can't provide any final information until after the cutoff date. The wreath numbers are constantly changing through cutoff on November 30th, which means the loads constantly change as well to accommodate growth. As soon as we finalize the shipping and logistics for your location, typically during the first week of December, we will provide you with the shipping information as soon as it's available. Some things that you could know to know about your delivery in the meantime are that wreaths typically will be delivered during the week leading up to National Wreaths Across America Day. So that's between Monday, December 13th and Friday, December 17th. The Wreaths Across America office will notify you when your wreaths have been shipped, provide you with a box count and information on how to track your wreaths. Wreaths are shipped 9 to a box. The boxes are roughly 2 foot square and weigh about 36 pounds. If your wreaths are shipped via FedEx or UPS, you will be sent a tracking number for each box. A signature is not required at the time of delivery, so it's not necessary for you to be there to receive the package. If your wreaths are being shipped via tractor trailer, the trucking company will contact you to set up a delivery arrangements at least 24 hours prior to delivery. Remember, our truck drivers are volunteers too, so please do your best to answer calls during that time frame that you might not normally, as we want to do our part to help make their jobs easier as well. And if you're like me, I tend to ignore any calls that I don't know. They go straight to my voicemail, and then I may or may not ever open that voicemail. So don't be like me during the week of, December, where we're waiting for deliveries. You want to make sure you answer all those calls, even if some of them means you are getting asked about your extended warranty. We also encourage each location coordinator to have a phone tree of volunteers ready so that you can quickly contact them for unloading the trucks. Local schools, fire departments, VFWs, American Legions, etc., are great to reach out to for help offloading boxes. They typically tend to have some flexibility to be available to help unload those. And if you have a large number on standby, it will help if there are any last minute calls from the trucking company saying they're on their way. So since this is our last webinar of the year, I just want to take a minute to remind you all about reinstatements that are required yearly. After the first of the year, your regional liaison will send you a reinstatement email with the information we have on file for each of your groups and locations. You will have the option for a one-click reinstatement if all of your information is correct. If you need to make any changes, we'll provide you with a form to complete and update that information. This past year, we added several new policies, and therefore we required everyone to sign the updated policies prior to reinstating. We will not require everyone to sign the policies for 2022 if we have a signed copy on file. However, if you did not provide all the necessary information as required in the policies, you will be required to re-sign those policies prior to reinstatement in 2022. Once your reinstatement is complete, you will receive a thank you for your reinstating email from your regional liaison, along with a copy of the policies, which we encourage you to review them as a refresher. If you are a location coordinator, your regional liaison will also give you a call to confirm information over the phone. And that is it. We're keeping it short and sweet tonight, so we have time for questions, because I'm sure that there's, we have a lot of new locations and new groups, and I'm sure there's lots of questions out there. So we'll open that up now, and if you can just unmute and ask the question or raise your hand, and we will try to get to everyone.
Betty Wade here. Could you give me the link for the order form?
For the cutoff form?
No, the order form to order my wreaths.
For the mailed-in sponsorship the form?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah, if one of the liaisons can just drop the link to our resource page, you can download any forms that you need right from our resource page.
Okay.
From there, and they'll drop that in that chat box.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. When is the best time to talk to Tara DeLong, our new representative, our new liaison?
Well, you can give her a call. She's in Monday through Friday. Her hours vary a little because it's like
I understand, yeah.
30 to 3.
Yeah, well, being the fact of we're bringing a caravan, the caravan's going to stop in Sayreville, so I'm trying to get our cemetery as far as the delivery to coordinate, so I don't have to be at the cemetery on the 15th of December. That's my main concern, one of my concerns.
Okay, yeah. If you just give her a call or shoot her an email, tdelong@wreathscrossamerica.org, she will get back to you.
I'll try. I'll keep trying to call her. Thank you so much.
Are you calling her direct line or are you calling the customer service number?
I was calling her direct line actually, but I just started calling today because like I said, we're getting close now. It's time to focus on the ceremony and all the details of the ceremony. Being that collections are coming to a close, soon. As much as we've been collecting, and the check will be in the mail soon, very soon before the cutoff date. Just to let you know from Rolling Thunder National.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And if you called her today, I will say she'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. We are getting lots of calls and emails right now. So we appreciate everyone's patience and thanks for your support.
No, I understand that. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
As I'm a local coordinator and I have people that are getting sponsorships online. How do I find out who did that? Do I get a list at the end of the year of who took online sponsorships to my fundraising group?
Yep. So you can log into your dashboard and you can go to under the manage where you go to that reporting that we talked about earlier under that Wreath count report.
Okay.
There is a details tab and it has all the information about who sponsored. If you're a location coordinator, you can see which sponsorships came from which group. If you're a group, you'll just see what come from your group. And also the research orders you can see under there and also send thank you messages.
Okay, good. I was a little late logging in, so I
oh yeah. And if you have problems, we do have instructions on the resource page that they sent that link in the chat to earlier.
Okay.
It kind of walks you through how to read those. And again, your liaisons are a good source to reach out to as well.
If I run into trouble, I will call Tiffany.
All right, sounds good. All right, Marty, you've got your hand raised.
I do, Julie, thank you. A couple of months ago, I think I was talking to Tricia, and I haven't gotten an answer back on this, but other folks on the call might be interested in the question, and that is this. And it's at the spur of the moment when the truck was delivering boxes to my cemetery, there was a very quick collection taken up, unbeknownst to me, and a wad of cash given to the truck driver as a goodwill gesture and gratuity, and because he did a great job. But I can quickly see this getting out of hand. So I had asked what the policy is on this so I could put the word out before the fact and not be surprised if and when it happens again. Can you help me with that?
Yep, absolutely. And I do actually remember talking about that a little bit, Marty, earlier this year. And it was a good point because we don't really have a policy of, what's an acceptable gift for drivers. But we do plan to have something to send out in the next week or two to location coordinators as far as kind of best practice, what are acceptable gifts to give to drivers. And, cash can definitely taking up a big collection of cash. There are definitely some things that could get out of hand quickly with that. And so just keep your eye out. We'll have an email coming out again in the next probably 2 weeks, and the next batch email that we send out to location coordinators that kind of talks about that.
That would be great, so I can get the word out before the fact or at the beginning when we assemble. And by the way, if the answer is nothing, that would be fine because the rest of us are purely volunteers, and it sets up an inequity with those that are doing other roles. So anyway, that's one man's input, but I'll stand by to see what the policy is. Thank you, Julie.
Thanks, Marty. And I do know a lot of people, for you guys on here, a lot of you guys talk about, giving gifts to truck drivers, and some things that are really good are like gift baskets that have like some food, snacks, maybe a gift card for coffee or something like that. But again, we'll send some information out about that, what's best practice for that.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
Sure, go ahead.
This is Carrie. The wreaths that we decorate for all the branches of the military, there's Space Force. I didn't receive anything last year for that. Is there going to be something sent for a wreath for Space Force this year?
Yeah, so we just added a wreath for that this year, and that's because we were just able to get the flags for it this year. So we have added an 8th wreath to the ceremonial count, and we do have an updated script on that same resource page that they shared that link to earlier. You can see that there is an updated script that includes that Space Force on there.
Awesome, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, Lily, you got your hand raised?
Yes, ma'am. I have a couple of questions. The gentleman just mentioned about going, how we could find out who had ordered on our website. As an organization, can I find out the names of the individuals that have ordered off of that website?
Yes, so if you log into the dashboard, you will see first name and last name. The only thing you won't see is like their contact information, but you can send messages through the system, so you still have that ability to reach out to them.
Okay, and our Wreath goal online, does it show only our online orders, or does it also include the paper orders we mail in?
It includes all your orders. So when you go into that wreath count report, you're going to see if you have any credits, any like free wreaths you may have gotten throughout the year. And if you go to the details tab, you'll actually see in the details of the order, it'll say whether it's mailed or if it's online.
Okay, but it does show up on that wreath count online. Okay, perfect.
That is your total. It all counts up to
Right.
there.
And then my next question is, I cannot get onto my dashboard for some reason. I've been on it, but then somehow our count got changed and now I'm unable to get onto the dashboard. Who can I talk to about helping me do that again? It won't let me, it tells me it's a duplicate, email address, which of course it would be, but I can't get on there.
So it's probably just locked out. It's really sensitive. I lock myself out all the time because it's like 3 wrong, types of that, and you're locked out. So just reach out to your liaison and they can reset that for you.
Okay, and then do we know the actual cutoff date? I've gotten 3 different dates in the last 2 days. So the actual cutoff date, it is November 30th. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is typically always the Monday after Thanksgiving. However, this year we did decide to go ahead and just extend that through the 30th because that is Giving Tuesday, and there are a lot of groups that like to take advantage of Giving Tuesday to do some additional fundraising.
Good. And then my last question is, are we allowed to use a grave-specific paper order form? Our liaison said we're not supposed to use it, but yet Brenda Kessler sent me one who helped us do a web workshop. And so I'm not sure, can we use the grave specific if our cemetery takes grave specific?
Yes,
May I answer that
you
question?
can.
May I answer that question? I sent you that automated form to be mailed to yourself. I would never send a paper grave specific into headquarters.
Yeah, so what Brenda said, so that form it's completely acceptable. A lot of people do it that way. You would want to have them fill out that form, have that form mailed back to you, and then you keep the grave specific portion of that information and then send just a tally sheet with the name and the full order into headquarters. Vanessa?
I have a question. I've got a group that's putting on a fundraiser shortly before Thanksgiving. Right now, they've already raised something like 3,000. They look like raising $5,000. How do I get that all documented? What do I need to do to get it all documented and send it in time?
So what you'll do is you'll probably just use a cutoff form for that. That's probably the safest way with the way that the mail is working nowadays. So what you would do is after the event, you would get a total and you would fill out the cutoff form. It's going to ask you depending on like the number of checks or if it's like one check, the total dollar amount, your group ID, location ID. It's actually pretty simple to use. And when we send out that cutoff form on November 26th, it will have a complete detailed instructions on how to fill that out. And so I would just submit the funds that way. Then you print off a copy of the cutoff form, put it in the package with your checks, and then just mail it in. All right, Vanessa Flowers, you've had your hand raised?
Yes, hi Julie. I'm the new rep for Zeta Phi Beta sorority, and I'm unfamiliar with a lot of this. So if I needed to change some things, like, do I have the capability of changing like our photo on our dashboard, or would I have to reach out to the liaison for that?
No, you can when you log in, there is it's called customization to-dos, and it walks you through, it shows you, where that picture would go on your banner and the summary text. And then on that same resource page that I keep, telling everyone, that link that they've shared in that chat, there is a instructions that will walk you through that, how to edit your page, add photos. And if you run into any problems adding those photos, again, you just reach out to your liaison and they can help you.
Okay, and so whatever wreaths that are donated past November 30th will count towards next year?
So what we do is we will try to get as many orders that come in after the 30th into this year's count. We have actually chased down a truck before to get a few more wreaths put on there for someone, whatever we can do to get the veterans honored. But if they did not go on the truck for this year, they would roll over to next year. So there will be a little bit of a window of uncertainty between the cutoff and the end of the year when we do reconciliation, where you won't know for sure which wreaths made it on there, but anything that doesn't go would just be credited over to next year.
Okay, and then when someone goes on to our page and they sponsor a wreath, all of those are delivered to Darnestown Presbyterian, right? That's the church that we're working with.
If that's your default location, then yes, that's where they would go, unless they chose, there is an option where they can choose another location. So if someone wants to support your group, but they have an uncle that's buried at a cemetery in Texas that is participating with us, they could sponsor a wreath for that cemetery, but also still support your group. So that's the only time there might be some differences there.
Gotcha. And will I be able to go on the dashboard? Honestly, I don't even know how to access that, but I'll go back and look at the emails. When I do that, I'll be able to see like who sponsored the wreaths.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you would see the name, first and last name, and then if they were, you will see which group that it came through and the location that it's for.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. Jan, you have your hand raised?
Yes. I am the coordinator for my organization, and about 3 or 4 people would like to volunteer, but I don't know what the volunteer opportunities are the day of. So what type of volunteer opportunities are there?
So what cemetery are you looking at volunteering at?
It's at the American Legion Post 5 in Tampa.
Okay, so what you would want to do is you'd want to reach out to the location coordinator for that specific location. Every location is a little different as far as what they need. It really depends on how many wreaths they have, but for the most part, your involvement on that day is going to be attending the ceremony if they're having an open ceremony, and then also helping place wreaths if they have the wreaths to place, and then taking a time to walk the graves and say those veterans' names.
Oh, okay. Basically what we did last year.
Yep. And
Right.
you can, if you need that location coordinator's contact information, Trish can probably message that to you on here, or she can reach out to you later to provide that information to you.
Okay. Is Trish on the Zoom call?
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
She's
okay.
listening to us now, so I'm sure she will be right on it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jan.
Uh-huh.
All right, Michelle, you've got your hand raised.
Yes, Hafide.
Hi.
I would just like to first off thank everybody from the Wreaths Across America family, our liaison Trish and you, Julie, and everybody, and Dawn, the location coordinator, for accepting us as this is our first time as a new location. My question is, since Guam, or is Guam's last day for ordering wreaths close of business day November 12th? Can we confirm that? I know I got an email from Trish, but I just want to make sure because of the time difference.
Fortunately, that was before I got another email from Dawn. And I'm seeming to think now from that last email that it's going to have to be this Friday, or they're going to have to leave. He's looking to see if they're going to have to leave Maine on Saturday. So it might be Thursday. But Julie, do you want to give her the good news? That we're going to take care of it and it's all going to be okay.
Probably, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, let's talk off the webinar.
Okay, we will.
So,
yeah, we'll work with you. I mean, like we had talked before, as far as like shipping early, we'll kind of put a little bit of a buffer on there so you guys will still be able to fundraising. So it's not a hard stop fundraising for you guys. So yeah, I was just emailing Dawn before the webinar, so I had not seen that last email yet, so I wasn't aware of that. But I'll shoot you an email after the webinar with some information.
Okay, yes, that would be great, because right now what we've initially put out was the 5th, but right now we're still, when people are calling in, we're saying we're pushing for an extension. We're just waiting for a hard confirmation. So moving forward, yeah, I'll wait for your email. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And for those who on this call don't know who Michelle is, she is with our Guam Veteran Cemetery, and we're excited because we've just added Guam on this year. So expanding the mission. We're excited about it. All right, Kathy, you've got your hand raised.
Unmute. Okay, I'm unmuted now. Okay, hello. I had a couple of questions. One, the branch of service flags, the 8 of them, are they like regular small on a stick kind of a flag, or are they pictured on the website somewhere? See what they look like?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you look at any of the Patriot or the military pairs that are on our website, it's similar to that. It's the same wreaths or flags that are on there.
Okay.
I think we sent out, I think we sent out instructions on how to affix those to your wreaths.
Yes.
And I think it was in there. But they are just the small flags that go on there.
Okay, that with on a stick. Okay, that was one question. Okay, and then another one. There was somebody that asked a question about the recycling the wreaths, or wondering if you just throw the wreaths away. But I sent a message. I hope I wasn't overstepping myself. Because I love listening to the Wreath radio, and I'm learning so much from the Wreath radio. I encourage people to check it out. But there is information also on the website about the that one story about the a fish story like no other, where it's explained how you can recycle the wreaths. I think it's amazing. And also I heard that you can recycle the wreaths through, some people feed the wreath, the leaves and stuff to farm animals. So someone may want to take them, and recycle them that way. I just hate to see them just thrown away. Was another thing. And what was the other question? I'm excited about this whole thing, and I'm so excited about Guam being added on. That is so amazing. It just keeps growing, because I'm from California. So from Wreath to travel from Maine all the way to California, it has been amazing, as well as the mobile education exhibit that came to California. I encourage people to check that out and try to have that come to their town next time, because it's really worth it. Very educational for people to learn about it, about Wreath remotely.
Yes, absolutely. It is. It's keep growing every year. And thanks for that wonderful Wreath Across America radio plug. I know our radio team is loving that. And it's so many opportunities for disposing of the wreaths. The goats love them. The fish habitats, lots of different resources. So if you're wondering or wanting to, what you can do with the wreaths, or wanting to save cost on waste for those, always reach out to your liaison. We have lots of, suggestions that we hear from other people on that. And then also, if you are not on the Facebook group, we have a Facebook group for sponsorship groups and also for location coordinators, where you can get lots of ideas, and volunteers kind of bounce stuff back and forth. So Terry, you've got your hand raised.
I think that's me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So my question is, I'm a new location coordinator this year for a church, and the church owns and manages the cemetery. But we've also created a group to raise funds for another charity. Now, the confusing part is that when our church members go on to sponsor wreaths, they see one number when they're sponsoring through the group and another when they're sponsoring through the cemetery. Is there any way to consolidate those to make it less confusing for church members?
So unfortunately, it's going to be different, because you've got a location is open to multiple groups to fundraise. And then you've got that group that of course is just the number for what comes through that group. So I would just have them always look at, if they're wanting to know what the number of wreaths that will be placed at the cemetery that year, then they would refer to the locations page. If they just want to know their contribution, like what they have raised, then they would just use their group page.
I think they're mainly looking to see how close we are to our goal. And when we look at it from the group standpoint, we're almost there, but we still need another 150 wreaths for the cemetery. So that's the only problem that I have with it.
I mean, the good thing is, if the number is different, then that means you've got other sponsorships coming from outside of the group. So that means that there's other things happening. The more the merrier. The more groups that you have involved fundraising for that cemetery, the closer you are going to get to that goal.
We are the only group.
Right. But there are other donations coming in from outside.
Okay.
If the number is different, otherwise it'd all be the same.
No, I mean, it shows the goal for the group as 100 wreaths, but we need 250 for the cemetery. So that's where the discrepancy is. And
so you just need to, so the goal, you can just change the goal.
Oh.
So if you go, just like we talked about earlier on, for your Wreathometer, I'm going to go over to that slide. If you go, you just can change that goal on your group to match what you would need for the location, and then they would match.
Thank you. I did not know that.
Okay, so we worked around, we got there, what we needed to get.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, Sean, you've got your hand raised.
Sorry, I was having technical issues unmuting.
I saw you looking. I could tell you were figuring it out.
Can you go back to the one on the page alerts so I can take a screenshot of that, please?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one more question.
Sure.
There we go. Is there and I know you mentioned about the getting your get the list of who purchased the wreaths. We're at the VFW in Rhode Island, and we would like to be able to personally send out stuff to those people. Can we get our donors?
Like mailing addresses to mail stuff to them?
Yes.
Unfortunately, no, but if you have like some thank you cards or something like that that you want mailed out, you can get with your liaison. It's something that we can do from headquarters for you. It would not be something that we would be able to do in the next month because we're going to be a tad busy, but it is something we can do after the end of the year if you wanted to send something out for them.
So we can't send stuff out on our own to them, correct?
No, unfortunately, we can't share that information. So like mailing addresses, we don't want to give out people's mailing addresses. But you can send thank you messages right from the website if you want to just like send it via
Yeah,
email.
I've been doing that already. So,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Kristen, you got your hand raised?
Hi, Julie. Yes, I am a new location coordinator, and this is our group's first time doing all of this. So I had a question on the website itself. Like when we go into the back end there and look in our dashboard and looking at the various reports, I just wanted some clarification. When somebody shows up under the manage event participants, are those people that have signed or not signed, but put in something through the website that said they want to volunteer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you can also see that list of volunteers. If you go under reporting, you'll see where it says volunteer report. You can download the list from there, similar to like how you can with your Wreath report. But the event participants is how you can message them. You can edit that if you need to. And there is a great tutorial on how to manage event participants on that resource page that we have been sharing.
Okay. And so if we were to do the send message to participants through the website, we can customize what that message is and send information to them on, you know, where to be and that kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay. And then sort of building off of the last question that you had answered, if we did want to send something directly to sponsors that have done something through, like bought through the website, I know you said we can't mail anything because we wouldn't have those, but if we were to reach out to our regional coordinator, they would be able to help us facilitate something after the fact.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. All right, we've got a question here that is it's just labeled iPad 2. So whoever you are, ask away.
Yeah, this is Steve Roy.
Hi, Steve.
I am totally green at this. I was actually quite overtaken whenever I got all my information on it. I'm kind of a one-man band here for Mount Olive Cemetery here in Warwick County in Indiana. I have 33 graves, 4 of them which are Revolutionary War graves. I talked to Tiffany. I'm going to be unavailable on the 18th. In fact, I'm going to be out of the state on the 18th. And she said it would be all right if I moved mine to the 9th, the Saturday before. Do you know when my wreaths will be shipped for that?
Any information regarding shipping would be sent, like I said, that first after the cutoff, once we kind of have that. If it's any special arrangements that have been made, you would just need to reach out to Tiffany outside of the webinar and she can confirm that information.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it. But like I said, it's a little overwhelming for the first time. So.
Well, hang in there. We appreciate all that you're doing to honor those veterans there. If you have any questions, just reach out to us.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thanks. All right, Michael, you got your hand raised.
Hello to everybody, and especially to Megan. Nice background, Megan. Good to see you again. This got dropped in my lap last year, and we were able to get a little over 500 wreaths. However, we have in our military community here, we have 1,100 veterans buried at our private cemetery. So my goal for this year was to that was to me unacceptable that we only had half. So this year we will meet 1,200, our goal. And that's part of my question. Number one, last year, some of the boxes only contained 7 wreaths. And you mentioned, as I understood it last year, was 8 wreaths. Now, I heard you say 9 wreaths. It's what
It
comes
is
in a
9
box.
wreaths to a box, and it's always been 9 wreaths to a box. And of course, when with any, thing in production, sometimes there are mistakes that happen. And at any time, if you're finding some that are not, they don't have 9 wreaths to a box, you just want to make sure that you report that count so we can always get you credited. But it should be 9 wreaths to a box.
Okay, well, I'm ordering an extra 100. Thanks for clarifying that. I'm ordering an extra 100 because our community here, we have about 3,000 square miles of military ranges. And we have very remote burial sites for many reasons. And some are military accidents out here in the Mojave Desert and so forth. So there's about 7 burial sites. I'm going to try to take our cemetery and add these very remote, unknown, some of them are unknown, burial sites and include them. How do we report that? I'm going to assume I report that to Megan if we do that.
Yeah.
And it's not on the list or anything, but we have people like myself. We're very adamant that we honor all veterans that we know of in all locations. So if
Well, I
that's
think that's
the way.
awesome. And obviously we yes, we agree. We want to make sure that we honor as many veterans as we can, regardless of where they're at. So yeah, just get with Megan, and what she'll do is she'll just make sure that she accounts for that so that there's no limitation regarding the number of wreaths that you're going to get. Because like I said, we do go based off of the veterans grave count, unless you have a special arrangement set in the system. So you'll get with Megan. Megan will help you set up that special arrangement, and that way you'll be able to get those additional wreaths to honor those veterans there.
Well, the way I covered it this year is just adding, making the goal 100 more than what we have ordered. So yeah, we'll work on that, get that fine tuned. Okay, Megan, thank you, dear, for all your help.
Thanks, Michael, for what you do. All right, Art Grody, you got a question?
Yeah, just a quick one. Are the stuff going to come on a pallet this year? The boxes, or are they going to be stacked in the truck to be damaged like they usually are?
Well, it depends on the truck, and it depends on where it's coming from. If it's coming from a cross dock. Because I think you had requested it. I think we have a note on yours that you had requested that you wanted them palletized. We do try to accommodate that if it is requested, but again, we are, working with volunteer truck drivers here and trying to maximize in order to take advantage of free shipping for you guys, because we certainly don't want to have to start paying for that. I will we'll double check on that though, and we'll make sure we put in a request, and we'll see if we can find out where yours are coming from and get you some information on that.
Okay, yeah, it makes it easier, but it's no big deal. It's just that this past year, even they get so many stuffed in the truck, and especially right at the last, and they're not tied down, and you open that door and they all come out of there, and it makes kind of a dangerous situation for those people unloading.
And I think yours came out of the Arizona crossdock last year, if I'm remembering correctly, which we did have issues with, and we have addressed it, and we've got some plans in place this year to prevent that from happening again.
Okay, one other thing, I heard some people, I think they were talking about getting information out to folks. I'm not sure how everybody else out there does it, but we get our on the order sheet, and anybody that gives us an email address on that, we keep a running tab on that. And this year, we sent out over 300 emails to those people that sent them in. And believe it or not, that is the only advertising I've done this year. And all those people have responded to those emails with even more than what they had the previous year. So, and you're not doing anything, as far as I know, against communication or anything. You're not giving it out to anybody. You're going just back to them with their email address. And it really makes a big difference.
Yep, absolutely. That's a great idea. And, we do recommend you guys, if you're using a tally sheet to send in your information and you're gathering that information from people, make a copy of it and keep it for your own records. And that's fine. We just can't give it out once it comes into our office. But that's awesome. I'm glad you guys were able to, take advantage of that.
Well, and if Megan happens to be listening, I just want to let her know our 1,200 will be going out.
Your what?
That's all I got. I just want to let her know I've talked to her by email, and I got hers back just recently, and we will be sending 1,200 out to Arlington.
Oh, awesome. I love that. You guys do a great job covering every year. And I love that you guys are, giving some extras, spreading the love other places. So thank you.
Okay.
All right, Glenn, you've got your hand raised.
Hi there. Julie, great job. I just became a location coordinator last Thursday and just overwhelmed by everything that's coming through right now. I have a couple questions. The one was, there was a mention in one of the many emails about creating a fundraiser and then selecting a 3-for-2 program. And I haven't seen anything to set that up. And I'm wondering, I've gotten the word out and we're already over 50% of the wreaths that we need, of the 475 that we need. Do any of those count as the 3-for-2, or is that happening in the background somehow? Or do I have to do something completely different to start the 3-for-2 program?
So it would depend on, so are you registered as a group or you're not sure?
I am registered, I think, as a group, yes.
Okay, so what I will do is let me look up your information and get back to you, because I'd have to look it up to know. If you are registered as a 3-for-2 group, then that 3-for-2 count would already be in that 475 number that you're seeing on your page.
Okay.
If you are not a 3-for-2 group, then of course it wouldn't. You would be taking advantage of either the $5 back, or you could be a no plan group. So we can definitely look into that to see
Okay.
what that is.
Do you need a location name or a group ID number?
If you have it, that would make
I do. I just pulled up that email. The group
Okay.
ID number is MD for Maryland,
Mhm.
0517, and the location is MD MOCE for Monocacy Cemetery. And I wanted to put a shout out to Vanessa Flowers down the street at Darnestown. We're both newbies, I guess. So if she needs to contact me, please reach out.
All right, awesome. Thanks. And I will get back to you tomorrow, probably not tonight because it's
No
coming up on
problem.
my bedtime. But I'll let you know what's up with your group. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Julie.
All right. Thanks, Glenn. All right, we're going to take a couple more questions. Pat, you got your hand raised?
Yeah. I have been looking at the volunteers report, and I know I've had many of my auxiliary members say that they have clicked on and put their volunteer information in, but when I look at my volunteer report, only my name shows up, and the 2 people that I signed up said were coming with me. So are they not, is it because they didn't mark that they want to volunteer with their group? Is it just going into the general Willamette location?
So are you the location coordinator, or are you just the group leader?
I'm the group leader. So
Okay.
I wanted to look at, when I go to look at my volunteers, who's volunteering. So I think they must be going into my location instead of into my group.
So the being able to volunteer through a specific group is actually a brand new feature that is not fully released yet. So you guys are seeing it on your side, but it's not fully functional because we're still working out the bugs, because it's
that explains a lot.
But the good news is it is the volunteer part, their information is still going into the location. You're just not seeing it under the group side. So it's still there. It's just not coming through in your group report where you can see that.
Okay, so, and the people that we've talked to in the community who wanted to come and volunteer with us, that information is then going to John, our location coordinator, and then I'm going to have to talk to him to find out how many of them there are.
Yep. And if you have like a list of names and you want to confirm, Megan can help you with that, looking in that report. Another thing to keep in mind is volunteers registering as a volunteer is not required for every location. So, and last year, because of COVID, obviously there was a lot of places that had limited volunteer opportunities, and the sign up was required. This year, things are more open. So most locations are kind of back to normal, where it's open to attend. The benefit of signing up as a volunteer is that you're going to get an email notice if the location coordinator sends out any emails letting people know about any changes to the ceremony times, reminders, that kind of thing. But it's not required. So unless that location specifically has, like, you have to sign up to be able to volunteer, like they're requiring, they have a limited attendance or something like that, they would be able to just show up that day. They wouldn't be turned away because they weren't on the volunteer list.
Yeah, well, my concern is that we are responsible for the grave specific wreath placements. And I know we just with our auxiliary donations, we have already like probably 120 grave specific. And if we're going to do all of the ones, it would be helpful to know how many volunteers I have to help handle all of that. So I'll call John.
Yep.
You know,
Well
so
done.
I know how many wreaths I have to give each person.
Yep.
But I'll call John.
Get with John and Megan and they'll be able to help you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks, Pat. All right, Linda, you had your hand raised.
Let me find the unmute. Good afternoon or good evening, and thank you. And like many others, I am a first-time location coordinator and a second-year group sponsor coordinator. So today I was inputting some of the sales from an event, and I found that I made some mistakes. And when I went in and pulled one of the reports, and so one of the mistakes was that it didn't show the group name. And so I have sent Megan an email, and so I'm just wanting to make sure that mistakes can get fixed. And is there anything we can do to fix our own mistakes without burdening you guys with my boo-boo?
Unfortunately, fortunately, we can fix it. Unfortunately, you cannot fix it. So that's okay. That's what we're here for. Since you sent that to Megan, she'll get that taken care of for you. Anytime, it's good that you paid attention to that reporting. And this is another great thing about going into the reports and kind of watching that information. So that way you can catch that stuff and we can fix it.
Okay, good. Thank you. So as a follow-up question is, and I was late to the meeting and I'm sorry, I too am receiving a fair number of cash donations. And if mail time plus Thanksgiving plus trying to get it into your office received by November the 30th, is there anything wrong with me putting it on my credit card and hanging and then hanging on to the cash? Or because I don't want to lose.
Not with, I mean, with the cash donations, I mean, I know a lot of people, that's what they do, because it's it's there. You don't have to, get a money order and send it in that way.
Because
so unless there's like specific, things on there where you needed to like break it down because there's a grade specific or whatever, which you could still do even with a credit card order, there should be no issue with that.
Okay. Well, Megan, call me when you have questions about my corrections.
All right, I'm going to try to I've got a couple people that have had their hand raised for a while. I'm trying to get to everyone, but it is 9 o'clock. If anyone has to drop off, feel free. Don't feel free that you have to stay on. But I'm going to try to go through a few more of the questions because I know everyone's been waiting. So Kay, you've got your hand raised.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, thank you. I am, like many others, brand new as of yesterday, I became a group leader, I guess is what it's called. I haven't even been on the dashboard, so I am totally green on this and learning. But this has been very helpful and I appreciate this and I will catch up. But the question I have is, we are a DAR chapter in outstate Missouri. And the cemetery we have adopted is Jefferson Barracks in St. Louis, which is a huge military national cemetery. So do we have to, when the wreaths are shipped, do we have to be there to receive them? And do they leave them there at the cemetery for a few days? Or how does that work out? Because, it's this huge cemetery. I know there's other groups that are going to be taking on that cemetery as well. So how does that work out with the wreaths being shipped? And for us, especially because we're 2.5 hours away from it.
Sure. So all the wreaths are going to be placed on December 18th, National Wreaths Across America Day. And I do know that Jefferson Barracks is operating as normal as far as the wreath ceremony goes this year. So they will be placing them that day. If you want to find specifics for what that location is doing, you can go to their main page on the website. So you can go to either wreathsacrossamerica.org / and then their location ID, which is MOJBNS, or you can just go to the search locations and type in Jefferson Barracks and it should pull up fairly easily. And go to the view page from there, and it would give any specifics. I know that she's pretty active on her page as far as any updates that are needed. But so you would show up the day of the ceremony, whenever they're going to be placing the wreaths, and the wreaths are not, they're not set aside like this group ordered this many, so this is how many they get to place. It's, cumulative, they all come together and then they disperse the wreath throughout the volunteers. And so you would just go place them.
Okay, so it's all together. We don't have to, we're not an individual. Okay. Yeah. And so we don't have to worry about receiving the shipment. They're shipped there and then we just show
the locations, all the wreaths are shipped to the location. That's the fun job for the location coordinators. They have all that extra stuff that they have to deal with, because they have to take care of the delivery of the wreaths.
Great. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. I think that's everyone I see who had their hand raised. If there's anyone that I missed that wanted to ask a question, feel free to just go ahead and speak up and we'll answer a few more before we, call it a night.
Hi, Julie. Bob Haggett here.
Hi, Bob.
And I had a question for you involving, I'm kind of a one-man band. Basically, I do all the fundraising and all of the volunteer coordination for 3 cemeteries here in Victor, New York. And I know they're looking for another name. I have one, and I'm not sure who to reach out to. I guess I go to your Region 1 person.
Mm-hmm. You're looking for a name for what?
They say they want another name.
Oh, for the co-coordinator.
Yep.
Yeah. So the co-coordinator was a new addition this year, and I mean that's really more of, it's like a backup, an emergency backup. And last year, unfortunately, with COVID, we learned that it was even more important than ever to make sure we have a backup, because we just don't know what's going to happen. We want to make sure that the truck drivers always have someone to get a hold of in case there's an emergency, because what we don't want is for them to be in town and ready to deliver the wreaths and they can't get a hold of anybody. So that was kind of the backup point of that. If you are having trouble locating one, if you reach out to your regional liaison, which would be Tara, she can help walk you through that and however we would handle it this year. And we know, because it was a new policy this year, I know there's been a few people who have had trouble if they're in a more remote area, finding someone to step up to fill that. So obviously we are, we're willing to work with you on that. So just reach out to Tara and she'll take care of you.
Okay, well, that's not a problem. I got a person and all of that. I guess the other thing is that I'd gotten a communication in between the Region 1 coordinator and the new one from you indicating that we had already met our quota on one of our cemeteries. And so I went back into the page on it and found out that apparently a change I put in one time didn't take or whatever. And I need those wreaths to continue to accumulate because I had the Girl Scouts go out and check the graves, and I got more graves now than I thought I had. So I need more wreaths.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. That was me that sent that out. I go over all that information. So I will put that on my list and I will take a look at it tomorrow. We'll make sure you get what you need.
Great, thanks.
Mhm.
I have a quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
Earlier, they were talking about giving gifts to the drivers. This is our first year and we are going to be having a bugler, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. However, do we also gift them? Or do we, I mean, I don't know about the truck because I think ours is going to be coming FedEx or something because we only have like 7 or 8 boxes.
I mean, it's not required, you know, obviously it just depends on, you know, what you feel is appropriate for, you know, for what you guys want to do. I know a lot of times, a lot of these organizations that like, if you're getting it, if your bugler is from what is it? I'm gonna mess that up.
Buglers across America.
Yes. You know, they're excited to be a part of this. I mean, it's an honor for them as well to be a part of it. So I don't think a gift is required. Again, it's kind of just depends on, you know, what you feel, what your group feels is appropriate.
Okay, I will check with my group then. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Anyone have anything else before I call it a night? All right. Well, okay.
A lot of my online orders, well, about half of them, the people put the location, but not the group. So our group is not getting the $5 cash back or, you know, donation. Is there any way that that can be corrected?
Yeah. So anytime that if the donor intended it for it to go to a group, they can contact our customer service and we can make that correction for you or for them. We just do need to be notified by the donor. I do want to ask, when you are giving out your link, are you giving out the direct link to your group page, like the wreathscrossamerica.org / with your group ID? Or are you having them search your website?
Well, I think that, you know, these are people that went in and just searched. They knew it was going to happen at that cemetery and they searched the location and then just donated wreaths without putting a group in.
I mean, and you will have some people, you know, who just, that's what they do. They just go through the location. You know, obviously we're a national organization. People know about us outside, you know, so we have the Wreaths Across America radio, we have our social media sites. So there are a lot of donations that, you know, will make their way to places that way. If it's, like I said, if it's someone you know and you know that they intended their order to go through your group, then you can reach out to them and just encourage them to contact customer service to correct that. But as far as on your end, you just want to make sure, as long as you're sharing that direct link, QR codes on posters and stuff like that, that makes it kind of foolproof. They scan it, it takes them right to where they need to go. It kind of helps avoid some of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Nancy, you got your hand raised?
Hi, Julie. I want to follow up with what the other person just had to say about that. I want to also mention, I too had that problem. And since I'm the only one in Gold Canyon, I'm doing events, 2 to 3 events a day right now. And I'm raising, you know, selling wreaths and everything else. they get on and they start typing in the search thing, and then when they see .org, it shows, oh, hey, here it is. They don't continue our group number. And it is hard to ask them to please take out the time and do it. Sometimes I don't, this one person, she lives down the road. I can possibly go down and knock on her door because I don't have her phone number. Everything's online. It's, because of security. And I have sent her an email. So, through the page of WAA, I've done that too. That also, if the magazine that I'm advertising with, if they put the link on 2 different lines, that's a problem because it will not pick up the second line, and it goes straight into the Reach Across America group, and our group number does not get reported. It's a hassle, and I don't know how to rectify it.
Yeah, and again, I think the QR code, like when you're doing a magazine, if you put that QR code right in there, people can scan it. I know there are people out there that are still learning how to use QR codes, but one good thing that came from the pandemic is a lot of people learned how to utilize those QR codes because you kind of see them everywhere now. So that's a great way to be able to put the link in places where people can just scan it and they don't have to type it in and worry about that coming in and 2 different places. All we can do
we
is
don't have
continue.
control on the media, we just don't.
Right. Well, but if you're approaching a magazine about doing an article, or if they've approached you, I would just always say, oh, here's my QR code. Can you put that in there? It's a great way to do it.
Like I said, lesson learned. I totally agree, but I did not realize that until after the publishing, and then we started having problems, and oh, this is the problem. Okay, now it's out there. There's nothing I can do, but I've been chasing around and saying, hey, where did you forget to put the group number? Well, we didn't know, we didn't understand, and here we go again. Then I have to contact Michelle or Emily, and they are so busy that it's a hassle. It's a hassle for everybody. But if I would think that if we catch it as a group coordinator, and it's Gold Canyon, I'm the only one in Gold Canyon, and it's just like, okay, guys, I'm not soliciting. This is my sale, and for my foundation, and it's a hassle, and we don't
And I
have time.
understand that, it's frustrating to have to kind of chase them down. But, then from an organization standpoint as well, we have to, consider the donors. And there are situations where we are contacted by, donors who they do not want funds to go through a group. Sometimes businesses make a donation and their funds cannot go through a group because of, all the stuff behind the scenes. It needs to go a straight donation to the location only. So there are, reasons. So that's why we just have those policies in place. We certainly don't want it to, we try to work with you guys wherever we can, and we will help however we can with it. But we do that's why we have that policy in place. And I know it is a hassle for everyone here.
And since East Valley, this is our no one has ever decorated in East Valley, and I have accomplished our goal of 3,000 wreaths, but it's just, I wish that I could get this one person that I know is one I have talked to, and she just filled it out, and it just didn't get the ID on it. So that's why. Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. Linda, I'm trying to find the name on there. Go ahead.
And I already unmuted. Follow-up question though. So what was this about businesses can't sponsor through a group?
Certain businesses, we have run into that before, where they don't want it to go through, like, depending on what that group does with their $5 back, they may not be able to support that. So, but that's very small number for the most part. Businesses are a great opportunity. Definitely hit them up. I'm not telling you not to. If they can't, then they might just say, hey, we can make a donation to the location, but we can't make a donation through your organization. But that's typically only an issue with payback groups.
Okay, because when the brochure has a corporate sponsor on there, that raised a red flag for me as to if there was a restriction. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. All right.
I have one point. I noticed in going through my report of the donations that 20% of them were through the forms, blank form. Well, I call fill in the blank forms rather than the QR code or online. And I think that's something people need to be aware of. There's a lot of, especially if you're dealing, a lot of your people that are donating are older. They don't know how to use a computer. They don't know how to use a QR code. And so don't discount them. They're a source of a revenue and a source of wreaths.
Yep, and we have that Wreath sponsorship form on that resource page. You can download that. I do recommend filling out your group ID and location ID right on that, because then even if you have requested that they send it to you, if they don't and they just mail it straight to us, it's already got those ID numbers on there. So your group and location is still going to get credit for it. All right, last question. Denny, you've got your hand raised. I'm going to let you, and then I got to get off because it's it's after 9 my time over here, guys. I'm getting tired.
It's quick, I think. Can you explain why the little wreath thing on our page isn't the same as what shows on our dashboard? As what's donated, as our donations.
The Wreathometer.
Yeah.
For your group or location?
Location.
Okay. And it's not matching your research orders or your Wreath report?
It doesn't match anything. Actually, everything that's showing on the dashboard, I didn't even know about.
We can certainly take a look. I will say, so the way the Wreathometer works is the Wreathometer is live and the research orders are live. So those someone places an order within a few minutes, you should see the Wreathometer go up and you should see that order show up in your research orders. Now keep in mind, times of higher volume, sometimes it can take up to 24 hours to come through. The Wreath report, the Wreath count report, is always going to be a little off from those two because it is not live. It reports once a day at minimum. This time of year, we try to push a refresh through a couple times a day. So you might see it fluctuate a little bit, but your research orders should always match your Wreathometer. So if that's not matching, then we would want to look, sometimes there's an issue with
the Wreathometer and the what? Research?
The research orders should always kind of match up. And if they're not, then that's when I would go, okay, let's see what's going on here. So sometimes it's something weird. Like the other day we had one and it was like one random order that just was like stuck, needed to be like refreshed, and then it problem fixed. So we've been working on some fixes internally on that. So some of you guys may have seen some stuff with some numbers going up and down because we have been actively upgrading the server and doing repairs on that to make sure that everything was, functioning at full capacity for you guys going into these next couple of weeks. So,
okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks. All right. Well, guys, thanks you all so much for taking the time to join us. If you have any follow-up questions, if I didn't get anything, you can always email me or give us a call, reach out to your liaisons. All of us are happy to help. And we will have this recording up on the YouTube within the next 24 to 48 hours. So you guys can always rewatch this if you want to hear all of my lovely answers again. All right, and I hope you guys all have a great evening, and we will, and good luck because this is our last one of the year. So I'll talk to you all again in January, and have a wonderful Wreath Day.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, and to you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Good night.
And Merry Christmas.
And Happy New Year.
Everyone. Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.